As you heal, your attractions change too. Toxicity stops looking like excitement, and peace stops looking like boredom. Now, this is a very interesting quote because when you think about it, especially for those that have been in the throes of alcoholism, we get this impression that, having chaos in our life having is a form of excitement. It's something that we start to identify with, right? I know even myself, there was a song by rapper Keith Murray. He had a verse in a song, and I used to quote it all the time, and I lived life by it. And it said, I need beer and a lot of noise in the air and a rowdy atmosphere to even think clear. I literally used to tell people all the time, that's just when when I'm at my best is when, there's a lot going on. Of course, I got something to sip and the atmosphere is chaotic and rowdy, right? Even, there's been other songs that talks about, being crazy in love and how a relationship, with another person isn't really a true love if there isn't some kind of arguing or craziness, right? Or what now we know is toxic behavior involved, right? And it gets kind of romanticized even in television, right? How these are the exciting types of relationships. I remember back in the 80s, for all of my old folks, War of the Roses, right? The movie War of the Roses, where you had this, one of those white actors, what's the lady's name? Sharon Stone, I think, and Michael, I forget his name, but throughout the whole movie, they're basically trying to kill each other, but they're playing this loving family, but they're doing all kind of crazy stuff in this house to kill each other and argue and fight. We've seen examples where they'll show, for my other folks, Belly, right? DMX, and Keisha, right? They're fighting. She's asking him, what's going on with this other girl? And then what do they end up doing? They end up making love, right? All of these toxic things have been, equated with excitement. And when you're in the throes of addiction, this gets amplified, right? Because by nature of being involved in an addiction, your life is going to be that much more chaotic. So just like I talk about in my book, Sobriety in Black, it becomes a part of your identity. And in the beginning, as an addict or even as a drunk, you shun the label, right, of being a drunk or being an addict or being a quote unquote junkie. Then after a while, you succumb to it. You say, okay, well, maybe I am, but so what? Then the next stage is you become proud of it, right? You start to look at it as a badge of honor. I can drink you under the table. Well, I always have the alcohol. Can't nobody drink like me, right? These are all of the things that add to the chaos in our lives, and we start to try to portray this idea that it's exciting, it's actually positive, and anything that's seen as peaceful, calm, or quiet is boring, right? But you start to realize as you heal from the throes of addiction, you start to appreciate non-toxic elements in your life. You start to appreciate peace. You go through that stage where you're by yourself, your things aren't as chaotic. And in the beginning, that can be kind of rough. A lot of people relapse because they don't know how to deal with living in their own head by being by themselves or being at peace. It takes some getting used to. It takes some therapy. It takes some help. But after a while, you start to understand the value in peace. You start to understand that you don't need chaos in your life, that it's not a good thing, that it leads to stress. It leads to aging faster. That's why when you stop drinking, people stop drinking and stop using. They start to look younger. They start to look better, less stress in your life. And you start to attract and appreciate that. So that's one of the things that you get to look forward to in your sobriety, right? And it's one of the perceptive changes that will happen as you heal, as you continue your walk in sobriety, right? Toxicity stops looking like excitement. You start to experience true excitement because you're in the moment. One thing alcohol takes away from you is presence of mind. You get that back when you're in a sober mind state. You can appreciate food, better. You can appreciate other things better. Your five senses are all ticking, right? Uh, and you can appreciate these things because you're in the moment. You are there. You are present. You are fully present, the real you. And that's something that you'll begin to appreciate. Not having toxicity in your life, not tolerating it, being brave enough to say, no, I'm cool. I don't need the alcohol. I don't need this. I don't need all this craziness, right? In your relationships, you'll be more discerning with who you deal with, and the people in the relationships that you nurture will be healthy relationships. And that's because of your presence of mind and your appreciation for peace. You don't see it as boredom. You see it as stress, being stress free, being able to appreciate and be excited for things that are exciting, but also to be able to be stress free within your life. So that's something you want to think about. It is a change that you go through that in the beginning can be a little uncomfortable when you first stop drinking, being without it. It's just like any other type of abusive relationship. It's weird, but when you're used to it over a given amount of time and it gets taken away from you, there is a growing pain. There is a change that can be uncomfortable, right? That can be uncomfortable, and if you're not able to deal with that, it'll draw you back to that abusive situation, and that's all alcoholism is. It's an abusive relationship between yourself and alcohol. That's all addiction is. It's an abusive relationship that you take on with a substance, right? Just like you can with any person, and so you have to wean yourself off of that. And once you do, you'll begin to appreciate the peace that comes from no longer having that dependency in your life. So I want you to think about that. I hope that pours into you. Remember, like the quote says, as you heal, your attractions will change, right? Toxicity stops looking like excitement, and peace stops feeling like boredom. All right, you're gonna realize that, and if you have a story you can share, go ahead and put it in the comments, and pass this on to anybody who may need to hear this word, right? And understand that transition they will go through, but when they get on the other side of it, they're going to understand the benefit, of what comes with that when you eliminate that toxicity out of your life and you start to bring peace into your life. All right. Hope you guys have a good one. Hope that pours into you. And until next time, peace.